Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachak Vadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Salutations, much love and respect to you. I came out there pushing this word out in truth and sincerity. Now, I want to do a lesson on the atrocities of the northern kingdom, because the southern kingdom is not the only tribe that suffered by the hands of Esau, Edom. Okay? The northern kingdom suffered very much so. All right? We can't compare. We can't go tit for tat when it comes to oppression, because we've both been oppressed on a very high level, as the prophecies say. And I'm inspired to do this lesson based on the apostle Elder Ephraim Lab's lesson, which was a beautiful lesson. And I was getting mad listening to the lesson. You know, he was showing the atrocities of the indigenous peoples, right? And we know about this, right? The elders, the apostles, they've done many lessons on these things, but I don't think enough lessons are done on the atrocities of the northern kingdom. So I'm going to go ahead and do a lesson on it right now. And I'll put in the description box the lesson of the elder apostle Ramlab, Lord willing. I remember. If I don't, then brothers can just remind me on the comment board. Now, what you see here, this is a particular incident that happened. An incident that happened with some Gadites. Well, there was many incidents. It's just one that I'm going to read at this particular moment. And it says, there were also questions of complex legal jurisdiction between territorial law, federal law, and sovereign indigenous law, explained Pfeiffer, that could lead to legal delays which frustrated angry citizens. You see, because when it was time for Jake to be persecuted, they wanted the persecution to be without question. They wanted him to be lynched without going through trial, without any of that. They were guilty before getting a chance to be proven innocent. It was the same thing with Judah. And what would happen is they would get so impatient that they would go in there and they would go snatch up that dude. Even if he got let off and he was proven to be innocent, they would go up in there based upon their hate, and they would lynch that man. They would lynch him, burn him. All right, you're going to see this is what they did to these particular Gadites here. In November 1897, for example, masked men stormed a Williamsport, North Dakota jail, dragged 3 Native American prisoners from their cells, and hanged them from a nearby beef windlass, a device used to hoist cattle carcasses. Paul Holytrack, Alex Cadat, and Phillip Island had been implicated in the murder of a white family. After Cadat was granted a retrial, citizens worried all 3 would go free, and they always would just plant things on Jake. You know, if someone got murdered, the easiest thing for the killer to do or whatever was to just plant it on one of our people, because he knew that would incite anger, right? And this was a 19-year-old young man. You see that? And you can see the 3 of them here hung and lynched. So you devils have to pay for these atrocities, not just done to the southern kingdom, but look, done to the northern kingdom. These are all the children of Israel, man. All right? They did this to our brethren. It's the same like they're doing it to us, man. Okay? And it should be the same vice versa. And that's how the true true unity, right, is gonna come through what? Through the elect. Because the elect have that true love for one another. The 2/3 of our people, they're through, okay? They don't have the same mindset we have. All right? So this is extreme wickedness, okay? Because they weren't proven to be guilty, which most likely they were innocent, because they always like to blame these different things on Jake, and they would just go and lynch them without a fair trial. All right, let's get Salakia. Let's get Jeremiah 50 and 33. It says, "Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captive held them fast, and they refused to let them go." In the time of Jeremiah, there's been a split, okay? And what happened was the northern kingdom went into a particular captivity before the southern kingdom, because the northern kingdom were being wicked, extremely wicked at that time. All right, so the Lord cast them off, but eventually he cast off Judah because Judah became even more wicked. The kingdom of Judah, meaning Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, became even more wicked. All right, so he cast them off to him. He said, "I'm gonna cast you off like your treacherous sister Israel." Okay, Israel referring to the northern kingdom. Okay, when you read the scriptures, when it speaks about Israel, sometimes it's only speaking about the northern kingdom. When it speaks about Jacob, sometimes it's only speaking about the southern kingdom. All right, but sometimes it's speaking about both. All right, or it might just say Judah for the southern kingdom. But you have to understand that we were oppressed together. Where were we oppressed together after that time? We were oppressed together in America, and not just America, but in the Americas, but mainly America, Babylon the Great. Why do I say mainly America? Because that's where all the tribes are gathered together in mass. You want to know where you can find all tribes at? You want to try to know where you can find so-called Mexicans, so-called Native Americans, so-called Seminole Indians, so-called Puerto Ricans, so-called Negroes, Caribbean, West Indians, Haitians. All these tribes, right? The Panamanians in abundance is in America. That's why America is known as a great melting pot. You see? So we were oppressed together. And that was only in this time, because after the fall of King Solomon's kingdom, what happened was there was a split. Okay, we were never in the same captivities together as a whole. Their Redeemer is strong. Yahweh of hosts is his name. He shall thoroughly plead their cause, that he may give him, Salakia, rest to the land and disquiet the inhabitants of Babylon. Now, what I want to do is I want to look at this particular picture, this particular thing here. Well, this is a book. This is going back to the book. I believe what's the book? A short account of the destruction of the Indies, which I should get this book. You know, and it goes into it. And when you read this testimony, it's showing you that they were actually Christians that were doing this. And you see all them Latin tribes, them northern kingdoms being burnt, women, all right, men, children. You see? So these devils were merciless, man, burning them like roast chicken, man. You see that? It say Fray Bartolome de las Casas, or Casas, Frayer of the Order of Saint Dominic, who by the mercy of God, wow, am here today in this court of Spain, was persuaded by the same notable persons resident in this court to set down an account of the hell that is the Indies, so that those infinite masses of souls redeemed by the blood of Jesus Christ. You see, and they brought you that Jesus Christ, okay? And the Jesus Christ they're talking about is that Edomite looking Jesus Christ, that so-called white man, all right, with the long hair. That's not the Lord. That's not how the Lord looks. Okay, the Lord is a so-called black man with white woolly hair. So that's a whole nother entity. That's a whole nother God that has nothing to do with the Bible. May not die for all eternity without any help for it. Okay, so anyway, these were Christians that was doing this, chopping off legs and limbs if they didn't bring enough gold, chopping off their noses. See, this man here has doesn't have his nose, man. You see that? So these devils have to pay, man. Esau has to pay. The Lord is going to make these devils pay. And one of the things, one of the major problems is a lot of you Jakes, right? I'm speaking to the Southern Kingdom too right now specifically, is that you're not grieved for your brother's afflictions. All right? You're not grieved for your brother's, and that was the reason why the Lord got mad at Judah in the first place. Because when he cast off Israel, he wasn't happy. He didn't want Judah to be in the spirit. Good for them. They didn't want to listen. No. But that's the spirit that the southern kingdom was in. It tells you that in the scriptures. All right. And they were looking down on their own brethren. And this is what the Lord said. This is Amos 6 and verse 6. It says, matter of fact, let's go down to let's start at verse 4. It says, that lie upon beds of ivory and stretch themselves upon their couches and eat the lambs out of the flock and the calves out of the midst of the stall, that chant to the sound of the vow and invent to themselves instruments of music like David. Right? So showing you David actually invented instruments of music. He actually created the things with his own hands. But the thing is this, they were living it up. That's what he was saying. They were living it up, lying on their beds of ivory, picking out the choice lamb out of the flock to eat. They were living good, in other words. That drink wine in bowls and anoint themselves with the chief ointments. But they are not grieved for the affliction of Joseph. Joseph is another way of saying the southern kingdom. Really, it's another way of saying Ephraim, but that would represent the northern kingdom in general, because Ephraim is the head tribe of the northern kingdom, just like Judah is the head tribe of the southern kingdom, but the head tribe of the nation of Israel as a whole as well. Okay, so Joseph. Right, Joseph is representative of Ephraim in the northern kingdom. So guess what? The southern kingdom wasn't grieved for that, and that displeased the Lord. All right, because that's a lack of integrity. You're supposed to love your brother, man. Okay, even if he's going off. I'm speaking about dealing with the tribes. All right. Therefore, now shall they go captive with the first that go captive, and the banquet of them that stretch themselves shall be removed. So he said, listen, I'm going to put you in captivity. You weren't grieved for your brethren, the northern kingdom, so I'm going to put your ass in captivity. All right? That's what the Lord said to the southern kingdom, man. All right? This should get you mad. You shouldn't see, this should get you pissed off, man. All right? These type of things get my blood boiling. These type of things should get your blood boiling, man, because it's the same. To me, when I look at this, it's the same I'm looking like if I'm looking at it happening to Judah, man. I mean, the apostle showed one image where it showed the children, man. These damn devils, man. And showing you these devils are a bunch of savages, man. Hold on, let me show you something, man. There was one where it showed the children, man. The children, they were feeding them to the dogs, because that's what they do. That's what they used to do. They used to feed them to dogs. Look at this one. Look at this. Look at this one. It looks like a woman. It looks like a woman. Yeah, it's a woman chopping off the woman's hand. Or see, see the nose is missing. You see this devil. You see a bunch of, and they were doing this. When you read Christopher Columbus' biography, they were doing these things for fun. They were seeing who can chop up a pregnant woman with one swipe and all these different things. They were doing that for fun. Oh, sometimes they were seeing if they could chop children. If children didn't bring enough, they would chop off their hands the same exact way. See all these hands on the floor? So this is a merciless, wicked, evil peoples, man. And let's not get into the cannibalism, because they were doing that too. They were doing that too, man. You see, look, see, they have the dogs eating them, ripping their face off, because they used to feed them to the dogs. So to the point where the dogs had a taste for basically the indigenous people. You see that? Look at these images, man. Oh, this is the one I was talking about. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this shit. Okay, this is a Indian, a Latin tribe woman. Okay, which really, if the image was accurate, she would be dark. They would be darker. Okay, right? But look, she hanged a woman, and look, the baby's hanged right next to them. And then they're feeding this baby to the dog. You see that? You see these devils? And then they want us to forget that. I just forget about it. No, the Lord is going to make you pay for that, man. You're going to pay for that. Okay? You're going to pay for that, man. And we're not going to be nice to them either, man. We going, man, scriptures speak about meditating terror. This is Obadiah 1:10. It says, for thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. You hear that? Because Esau, his violence against his brother Jacob, which is us, all 12 tribes, all right? He's going to be cut off forever. What does that mean, to be cut off forever? Well, let's get Obadiah 1:18. Let's jump down to the 18th verse. It says, matter of fact, I'll start at 17. But upon Mount Zion shall be deliverance, and there shall be holiness, and the house of Jacob shall possess their possessions. Right? And the part of our possessions is the heathen, okay, including you Edomites. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame. So the house of Jacob representing the southern kingdom, and the house of Joseph representing the northern kingdom. We're going to be united. And the house of Esau for stubble. So we're going to burn up these Edomites, and they shall kindle in them and devour them. And there shall not be any remaining, Salakia. And there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for Yahweh has spoken it. There's not going to be any remaining of the house of Esau, man. That's going to be the end of those Edomites after they serve their slavery, after they serve their punishment. Then there's going to be an end of you, okay? We're going to chase you out of the earth, as the scriptures say. Yeah, it's Ezekiel 37, but let's take a quick look. No, Isaiah 11, Salakia. This is Isaiah 11 in verse 13. It says, the envy of also of Ephraim shall depart, and the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off. Right? Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim. You understand? So there's gonna be unity again. All right. One of the main reasons a lot of times that Ephraim envy Judah is because, you know, a lot of times too is because Judah's afflictions is always spoken about. Judah's always, you know, in the forefront. But then it's like the Latin tribes and the Gadites, their affliction is like put to the side, man. You see? You see that? And that's not right. All right. But that's how Esau, you see, that goes back to Esau too, because what Esau does, he likes to deal with divide and conquer. So he'll push up one other than the other. So he'll tell the Latin tribes, yeah, you're better than those Negroes. Or tell the, you know what I'm saying? Or tell, you know what I'm saying? Tell the Gadites, yeah, you're better than those niggas. And then they'll, you know, then you'll go to a Gadite reserve, and I know, because reserve out here, and they'll be more racist to you than these Edomites, because that's part of Esau's psychological warfare. Okay, it's part of divide and conquer, man. Right? And you got to understand that there's coons amongst all the tribes, man. There's a bunch of coons amongst all the tribes, a bunch of sambos and sellouts amongst all the tribes. Okay? And this Gadite brother asked me a question. He said, yo, what about, you know, Judah selling or the Buffalo Soldiers in Judah or something like that, taking out Gad? I said, yeah, those are sambos, and they're going to be destroyed. All the sambos of our nation are going to be taken out. And guess what? You had Gadites, right? Who the Edomites would come to them and say, listen, we want you to put these Negroes in slavery. And they had certain Gadites that was putting Jakes in slavery. Okay, their own brethren. But then there was some Gadites who said, no, I ain't doing that. And then we intermingle, because at the end of the day, there's a brotherly bond. All right. And that's why the Buffalo Soldiers weren't cruel the way that the Edomites were. The cruel, they took them. They said, okay, I got you. Then they sat down around the fire, whatever, and and took them where they had to go. They weren't killing them and chopping them up and feeding them. They weren't doing all that, man. You see what I'm saying to you? But nonetheless, those were sellouts. Okay, and like I said, there's sellouts amongst all our nation, and they're all gonna be purged out, man, in the judgments to come. All right. Okay, it said, right? It said, Judah shall not vex Ephraim, right? And it says, but they shall fly upon the shoulders of the Philistines toward the west, and they shall spoil them of the east. Together they shall lay their hands upon Edom and Moab, and the children of Ammon shall obey them. So we're going to conquer our enemies. That's the bottom line. We're going to conquer our enemies. All right? You see? And we're going to do that together. But let's deal with you Edomites and your atrocities, man. This is Amos 11, 1 and 11. It says, thus saith Yahweh, for 3 transgressions of Edom, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because he did pursue his brother with the sword, and did cast off all pity, and his anger did tear perpetually, and he kept his wrath forever. You see that? So the Lord is not going to turn away your punishment. It says, but I will send fire upon Teman, which shall devour the palaces of Basra. All right. Going into the nuclear destruction. But I wanted to pull up this picture. See, this is part of him, not casting off pity. You see? Not casting off pity. And it's the same, these devils you see walking around, these are the same spirits coming back. All right? But now they're being shamed for their history. Now they're coming with a different spirit. Now they're supposed to be all loving. Come on, man. It's the same old G, the same old devil. Okay? Yeah, I want to get Genesis, the 49th chapter. This is a prophecy dealing with Gad specifically. Excuse me. Salakia. Or even Judah. Let's start with the prophecy of Judah, and we're gonna start with the prophecy of Gad, and then we're gonna jump to the prophecy of Gad. This is Genesis 49 and 8. It says, Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise. Right? Why? Because Judah's the head tribe. Thy hand shall be at the neck of thine enemies. Thy father's children shall bow down before thee. And you know who gets the most hate amongst all the tribe? The tribe of Judah. All the tribes got a problem with the tribe of Judah. All right? And with the southern kingdom in general. It's about that Judite look is demonized in this earth. That dark skin, the woolly hair, that's demonized in the planet Earth, because we have the man of sin and rulership. Okay? Judah is a lion's whelp. From the prey, my son, thou art gone up. Who's the prey? That are our enemies, right? These other nations. He stooped down, he couched as a lion, and as an old lion, who shall rouse him up? Because when you look at Judah back in the 60s and the 50s, they had a mentality behind them. You had kids, man, F these Edom. We should build a wall around these Edomites, and calling them what they call them, so-called white people, right? But we should build a wall around them and keep them out because they do nothing but bother us and this and that. So they had more of a spirit on. They had more of that rowdy lion-like spirit. That's why Esau had to tame that spirit. All right, because they were saying, these jakes is getting, the Black Panthers and these different things, they were getting rowdy. You see? Because Judah, when they do something, the rest of the tribes follow. Okay? That's why when they all go back, all these different movements, most of them are following the Southern Kingdom's lead. You see that? When you go, you got this BLM thing, right? Black Lives Matter. Then you got all these different type of lives. Brown lives matter. This life matters. Because they're following after Judah. Even Gad, they have their things here. It's called All Children Matter, but then it has the Native American leaves on it, which is really representing the Native Americans. They could have changed that for All Native Lives Matter, whatever. You see, but they're just following after who? After Judah. It starts with the head tribe, which is Judah. Okay? The scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet, until Shiloh come, which is Yahweh Shai. And unto him shall the gathering of the people be. Right, I read this, right? Did I read this part? Let me read this again. Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise. Thy hand shall be in the neck of thine enemies. So in other words, Judah is going to take down, is going to have the upper hand over his enemies in the latter days. Thy father's children shall bow down to thee. Okay, let's get Gad, all right? It says this is Gad. Gad, a troop shall overcome him. What troop? The U.S. Cavalry, these different, specifically I believe the U.S. Cavalry, but then they had different troops in Canada. They overcame him, which the troop represents these Edomites. All right? But he shall overcome at the last. All right? So at the end days, Gad is going to overcome that troop. All right? So listen, man. All the tribes are going to win at the end. Okay, this is the time of the Great Awakening when you read Ezekiel the 37th chapter. But I want to get some Isaiah 65 because we got a lot of our people that are siding with this troop, siding with this devil. All right, this is Isaiah 65 and 11. It says, "But ye are they that forsake Yahweh, that forget my holy mountain, that prepare a table for that troop." Okay, and that furnish the drink offering unto that number. Especially these people in the high positions, these celebrities, they definitely sold out. Okay, because in order for them to stay in that position, they got to sell out and they got to push the propaganda and the agenda of these devils. Okay, so they're all gonna pay. The scriptures speak about woe to ye rich men, for ye have received your consolation. The ones of our people that sold out for this man, they're gonna be destroyed. Okay, this is Deuteronomy 28 and 50. It says, I'll start at 49. It says, "The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand, a nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the persons of the old, nor show favor to the young." All right, let's take a look at these pictures again. These are young. These are children that they're feeding to dogs, man. You know, they're happy to do it. They're not, oh my God, I feel bad about what I did. No, they're happy to do it. And guess what? These people are back here today because the scriptures deals with reincarnation. They're back here today. You know, you might have walked past them in the street. It might have been this devil right here. How you doing? You know, but in his mind, he has hatred for you. The scriptures speak about they curse inwardly. Yo, you Jakes better wake up, man. You better wake the hell up, man, and understand that you have enemies. But in these latter days, the Lord has woken up the elect, because it's all about the elect. It's not about these 2/3 amongst our people. It's all about the elect. All right, the elect is the ones that the Lord has woken up. All right, this is Psalm 73 and verse 1. It says, "Truly the Most High is good to Israel, even to such as are of a clean heart. But as for me, my feet were almost gone, my steps had well nigh slipped. For I was envious at the foolish when I saw the prosperity of the wicked. For there are no bands in their death, but their strength is firm. They are not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued like other men." These Edomites are living good, okay, compared to Jake, and that's why Jake envies Esau, what Esau has. They don't want to transform into Edomites necessarily, but they envy what Esau has. Okay, therefore pride compasseth them about as a chain, violence covered them as a garment, because they're not in trouble, right? Their eyes stand out with fatness. They have more than heart could wish. That's why they were doing all the things you've seen in the pictures. Because what? Because they were not being punished. So the pride compassed them about as a chain, and violence covered them as a garment. But guess what? That punishment is on its way, and it's going to be a deadly blow. Okay? It says they are corrupt and speak wickedly concerning oppression. They speak loftily. I'm going to get over it. All right? That's what it means to speak wickedly and speak loftily, meaning proudly, arrogantly. They set their mouth against the heavens. They set their mouth against the heavens, and their tongue walketh through the earth. Therefore his people return hither, and waters of a full cup are wrung out to them. And they say, how doth the Most High know? And is there knowledge in the Most High? Behold, these are the ungodly who prosper in the world. They increase in riches. Verily, I have cleansed my heart in vain and washed my hands in innocency. For all the day long have I been plagued and chastened every morning. If I say I will speak thus, behold, I should offend against the generation of thy children. When I thought to know this, it was too painful for me. Until I went into the sanctuary of the Most High, until he understood the truth, till the Lord washed his mind and he got the understanding, like how we got the understanding through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai. Then understood I their end. Then he understood, okay, they have a judgment coming. Surely thou didst set them in slippery places. Thou castest them down into destruction. You see what I'm saying? How are they brought to desolation as in a moment they are utterly consumed with terrors? You see, so the Lord is going to take these devils completely out, man. All right? He's going to take these devils completely out. As a dream when one awaketh, so, O Lord, when thou awakest, thou shalt despise their image. Whew. Listen, man. The Lord is going to do away with Esau, man. And you got the Israelites, all 12 tribes. You can see it all around the world, waking up and proclaiming the truth. Then shall, this is Wisdom of Solomon 5:1, then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before such as have afflicted him and made no account of his labors. When they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, so far beyond all that they looked for. You see that? We're standing up in boldness before the face of our enemy. When we go out there and we preach, we're preaching boldly. You can't be don't be preaching all timid. Yo, speak like you believe what you're talking about, man. Speak like you believe what you're saying. You speak later that how is that going to affect anyone? About Paul, they spoke about Paul. They said his body was contemptible or whatever. Now he was weak and frail, but this the power of his words. His words were powerful. Roughly paraphrasing, man. Okay, and they repenting and groaning for anguish of spirit shall say within themselves, this was he whom we had sometimes in derision and a proverb of reproach. What's an example of a proverb of reproach? A nigger, a spick. Hopefully don't flag me for that. A savage. You know what I'm saying? Those things, man. These are the proverbs of reproach, a beaner or whatever the case is, a wetback. Those are all proverbs of reproach that are said to our people, man. You see? But guess what? Those people are going to be ashamed because they're going to realize that we are the sons of the living power. All right? So with that, I want to give all praises going on to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Rachakwadash. Hopefully that was edifying through the spirit. I hope I did this lesson justice. There's more to go into. I got to do other lessons on these things because there's a lot of information. With that, Lord's willing, you were edified. Shalom.